Max, welcome to the Growth Never Stops podcast. How are you doing, brother?
Well, thank you very much. I'm doing very well. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, yeah, amazing. It's my pleasure as well. And maybe some people might be asking themselves, well, why are there two Luxembourgish dudes recording a podcast in English? And actually, it's very simple. It's just because it's a language that we love, it's a language that we use in our day to day. And it's just for a better reach as well. So that's how we're going to do it.
Exactly.
And I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun for sure.
Sounds good. Yeah, exactly.
All right. And just to yeah, and just to get it started with, what I like to do at the beginning is to just give you like the opportunity to introduce yourself. Some type of elevator pitch like introduction for just a minute. Just introduce yourself, who you are, where you're coming from, what you're doing, what you're passionate about. Just let the audience know that who they're gonna be listening to or watching.
Yeah, for sure. So originally, I am from Luxembourg, like yourself. I grew up in Luxembourg, did school in Luxembourg as well, and I eventually realized that I wanted to see the world somehow, and I realized that I very quickly had to learn English and get good at communicating with people. And so I went to school and finished school, and very quickly moved out to the biggest city that I could get to in the shortest distance possible, and that was the UK. I moved to London. I wanted to go to a bigger city, see something else, be in an English-speaking country, and get out there, right? So, um, in school in Luxembourg, I started out learning film and photography in the school that we probably all know, our métier. And from there, I took the skills that I learned from there and tried to kind of make it in London, and get a job there, get some experience, get myself exposed to something more that I've seen back home, right? And yeah, I spent a little bit of time in London, and I think it's an incredible city. It was great to get out there, and eventually moved from London to Dubai. And I've throughout this entire journey, you know, learned the process of filmmaking traditionally, but also from the perspective of social media. And social media came into my life through travel and through meeting people and getting different jobs. And so I think I gathered a lot of different experiences between traditional filmmaking, like films and commercials and everything looking very perfect, and then also very effectively using social media to create ads on products and target certain media to certain people to boost sales, let's say. But I'm very passionate about content. I'm very passionate about travel and activities that I can document with a camera, let's say. That's what I'm all about. Regardless of what I'm doing, somehow I think about how I can make this look nice with a camera. That's what I'm all about.
And you're great at it. And that's why you're here. That's why I got you on the podcast, because you're really, really great
Thank
at
you.
it. It's super impressive. And I was wondering, even for myself, like, where is that coming from? That curiosity for this, that passion for this. When did you know? When did it become like clear that you
Mm.
would take on embark this path?
It kind of sparked at some point when my dad had a camera at some point, and I just started playing around with it. And then I realized like it was kind of his hobby. And then I looked at it and I was like, this is kind of interesting. But it hadn't fully formed until randomly my mom found this school, RMIT, and there was this new section in that school about film and photography. And then I was like, I was 16 years old and I had to switch schools, and I was like, I have no idea what I'm going to do. No clue. I was 16. I was like, this is way too early to make decisions about your long life, right? And so then I just got into that school and then learned everything there's to know about cameras. And that's basically it. And then the rest is history, I suppose.
What was your first one? Your first camera? Which one was it, and when?
Um, well, I was playing with this Lumix camera that my brother had. It was like this point and shoot. And then I got a Canon 60D at some point. And then I made videos and photos with that. It's kind of a hybrid camera between photo and video. It was enough at the time.
What did you start doing and making at the beginning? You were just trying different things, having fun. Like, how did it look
Yeah,
like?
I
What
mean,
did it look like?
so this the school thing was like 5 years or 4 years, and getting better through learning these things from school. Obviously, I don't think school is nearly enough to get a good enough insight in how to do this whole thing. I've started freelancing on the side, right? So got a lot of like good exposure, a good base in school, and I'm very grateful for the teachers that taught us a lot of stuff there. But then you know, when you start getting asked from people like, hey, we need this kind of photography done, when you start thinking about pricing and how to sell it to someone, that's when it really starts to formulate. So I started freelancing slowly, getting jobs and making money on the side. And yeah, from there it kind of developed, right? And yeah, from there I finished school, and I took that basic knowledge, let's say, to the UK, and then all of a sudden I'm in a much bigger market where things work differently to Luxembourg, and it was challenging. It's strange to live in a new place, but it's exciting as well, right? So I did the same thing there, but I got a job initially because that was the easiest thing to do, but never stopped kind of exploring around what that job is, whether that would be shooting myself, like some photography that I could just do as a hobby on the side of my job. So always freelancing on the side, always trying to do as much as I could, meeting as many people as I could to get my foot in the door somewhere. Yeah.
How did you go about it as far as freelancing, and around what age did you start? Because like when you get into it, you gotta have some sort of confidence as well in your skills, in your competencies, in what type of value you can bring to all the people in the outside world. So what gave you, like as someone from a small country like in Luxembourg, the confidence to just get it started? And around what age was it?
I don't remember what age I finished school as, but I think it was 20. So that's 8 years ago now. So around 20 years old. And that is a good question, actually. I've not thought about that too much because I guess it just happens. But at the same time, you know, when I started doing this, social media was really becoming a thing, right? So all of a sudden, the need for content became massive around the world. YouTube, Instagram, all these things that we now all use, where you're watching this right now, you almost don't need to be confident because it comes to you. If you need something shot as a client or as a YouTuber or as a whoever there's that you are, you find a person that needs to shoot something, right? So then you provide that, and that's almost how it works, and that's how easy it is, right? So you just need to have confidence in your skill somehow. So you need to build the skill, and that takes time, of course, and that takes a lot of repetition until you sort of feel like, okay, I sort of have this figured out, and I can provide a good service to you now. And that's when you're 20 years old. Do you really know anything about anything? I'm not sure, but you just try, you know, and so it's really important that you reach out to as many people as you can, because I've had it countless times in my life that I've reached out to someone and nothing happened for a year, and then a year later it clicked, and then that person called me and was like, hey, you talked to me a year ago, or I still have your contact in my phone. And then if you do that enough times, all of a sudden everybody knows you, or enough people know you that you can live off that, and then you have your network and you make money consistently. And that's how it goes.
Yeah, because it goes beyond your skills, your technical skills. You have networking, communication, maybe even, how do you call this, copywriting, depending on how you go about looking for clients. Is it like code approach? There are a lot of skills compounded, which it is basically entrepreneurship. That's what it is. And so it takes way more than just being skilled at what you're doing and having these competencies. And you know what's very interesting about what you said about just your background and how you got into it through the school? It's good that you mentioned that it gave you a good basis, because you know nowadays there is big dichotomy of either you just go to school specifically for something, or it's like, oh no, school or university or whatever it is it's a bunch of BS. And I think it's a good thing that you're one of those people who was able to take something from it and actually build a basic with it, because there's a lot. There's a lot of shitting on education, and even though it's not perfect, even though it might not be pertinent for some areas of some professional areas, it doesn't mean that all of it is just to throw into a garbage. So that's why I appreciate that you mentioned that as well, and that's how you got started. So yeah.
For sure. But I will also say to that I am not always the biggest fan of the education system. I agree with you, and I think that school it's very important for certain jobs, or it's necessary for certain careers. You have to do it. That's just the way the world is built now. And I'd rather have a lawyer that went to school.
That's a big word.
Exactly.
100%.
For this career,
100%.
For this kind of career, video and photography, I don't think it's necessary. You don't have to go to school, but I think it's definitely an experience that you surround yourself with people in the same room every day for multiple years. Knowledge kind of accumulates and you learn from each other. There's a value to that. But I think that when I came out of school, there was a lot I still had to learn, and a lot of things I had to fail at and just not feel good about until I was at a point where I could feel like I can comfortably live in the market. You know, I don't know if school prepares you for that. But yeah,
there's a gap.
Also, for me, I grew up in Luxembourg, like yourself, and early on in school, I don't know if I felt very good about school because I didn't do well in school at all. Like, it was not a thing that I was very confident about. So I was not good at math, maybe. I was not good at languages. So like I had to study a lot more than other kids. And I felt like it almost wasn't modeled for what I needed in life or what I needed out of it. So I didn't feel very supported always. But that's okay as well. That's not everyone, right? And like you said, it's not good to shit on the education system because some people don't have education. And that's very important to consider as well. But we're very privileged and we have education. So we can kind of have an opinion about it, right? Yeah, so I think find your way.
That's exactly what it is. And that's why, for me, it's always important to be able to see things in a nuanced thing. Because like in my early 20s, when I was in all that personal development space and getting myself going, and I used to think a little bit more in the extremes. But now, and then I started to think about, okay, well, actually, I'm super privileged to be able to have access to this, to education in general. Even though, like you just mentioned yourself, there are a lot of things that I feel just completely miss for day-to-day life and how you go about life, how you navigate through life. And that is just some sort of, okay, you put these kids in a box and you just program them for what you want them to program, to be like just a worker in society and not really think for yourself and contribute in different ways. So absolutely, I definitely see that there's still a lot of holes that need to be filled, and that a lot of things can just be learned through doing actions, learning by doing, being in the real world, setting yourself up for success, but also for failure, learning from failure, from your own failures, from other people's failures and successes. That's old school and still the best way to learn in life. It's just the hands-on approach. I mean, definitely. And no doubt about it.
I think there will be probably some gaps that school cannot fill, and that is the way to, like, there's some gaps we cannot fill in whatever it is that we do. You know, that's like, and I agree completely with you. You are in the extremes when you start having an opinion, when you start forming an opinion as a person and you make up your identity. Oh, I'm super political, or I'm super right or left, or whatever you want to consider yourself as. It's not like that anymore when you really get a really wide perspective when you get older. I think you're right with that.
That's what we were just talking about before recording the podcast. Is now you being in your late 20s, me being my early 30s, you look at the world in a different way too. And we're still super young. Like I don't look at ourselves being like these wise men who have all figured out. To me, we are always figuring out, like all lifelong student of life. It's never gonna stop, in my opinion. But the maturity, the life maturity, the professional maturity, it's a big difference. And you're just able to see things more nuanced and like gray instead of just black and white. And sometimes it's still good. Sometimes it can be good to go about life in extremes, especially when you want outstanding results and putting outstanding efforts, then sometimes it requires to go there. I'm definitely a person of the extremes, and you sometimes as well. You were just talking to me about telling me about your gym journey. Maybe you can share that as well briefly. But sometimes that's what it takes as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I get older now as well, I think I realize that I'm no longer just this one person that does that one thing. I am, but at the same time, who am I? I don't know sometimes, you know, and it's a weird thing because we're so exposed to so many things in the modern world that we live in. But, you know, I am someone that makes content, makes films, makes documentaries, commercials. But at the same time, I love scuba diving and I'm a scuba diver. Like I could do that professionally, or I could be a coach and I love the gym, or I just started cycling. I love cycling and like I could be a cyclist. There's more to me and more to everyone than just this one thing that they do at this very moment. That's why I started seeing failure in a very different way as well. That like, if I fail at this job, like it's not nice and you don't want to fail, you want to do well, but there's more to you than just your failure at your job. So if everybody hates you for something that you've done, you know, that's obviously not a nice thing, but like there's more to you than just who you are now, right? So I think it's interesting to keep yourself a bit more open to the world around you, because you know, you might not be the same person that you are now. Or it's very likely that you're not the same person that you are when you're 20 than when you're 40. And I think I've learned that recently only, that I can be whatever it is that I want to be. Like if I want to be a content creator, here I am, I'm on a podcast and I can be a content creator now. You just have to do it. And then it's not this big thing that we have to make up, you know, like you can be whatever it is that you want to be. And that sounds very idealistic, but it's true. Like if you want to be a content creator, you have a phone, start making content, that's it. Then you're a content creator. It's not that difficult, you know? Yeah.
No, it doesn't have to be rocket science. And it's a very beautiful and mature approach of how you just were able to formulate it. Really, I mean, it's really nice to hear, to see your own development as well. And
for sure,
I was just I was wondering if do you have a preference between photography and filmmaking?
Yes and no, but I do more video than photography, but they're the same thing. For anybody out there that is in this field will know that as well, because what matters is that there's a light coming onto your subject and that you shape that scene that's happening. So right now there's a light here and that's making me look a certain way. And then whether you film that or you photograph that, it's the same thing essentially. You just control the lighting and create the scene. Now a photo is a photo and it's just one frame, but a video you have to control the scenes. Like you have to make people move or talk or act in a certain way. But to me, they're the same. You know, like if you make a movie, there's the person that's in charge of how the movie looks is the director of photography. He's not called the director of video. It's the director of photography, because photography is about lighting. If there's no light, you don't see anything. It's just dark. But there's lighting and it reflects back at this webcam right now. And that's what we see. So I don't have a preference, but I love both and I do both all the time. Like my phone's full of photography. I have a camera with me all the time. I have about 5 or 6 cameras or maybe more, that I always use to like either take a photo or video with. But I feel like video gave me a better way to express myself, because you can talk, you can record the audio, you can create a mood easier, I think. Even though I think photography can be very powerful, I think video made me feel like I can control the mood with music and express myself, or express another person's vision as well, right? So video attracted me a bit more throughout my career. Yeah.
Are there any examples that you could share? I mean, it doesn't have necessarily to be the clients or people that you work with or companies that you work with. I don't know, you know, from a privacy standpoint, but just so that people can get an idea of what specific realms you've covered in filming and shooting photos.
Yeah. So, I mean, when I started out, I worked more on like traditional film kind of things, or I learned how to make the traditional kind of film, a documentary. You do an interview, you shoot B-roll. I mean, if you don't know what B-roll is, it's just additional footage on the topic that the person is talking about, so you can overlay it over the interview, this kind of traditional thing. But then I moved onto social media, because you need nothing but yourself to create a social media piece. But to create a good movie, very quickly, you're going to need 10, 15, 20, 50, or 200 people. Right? There's movie sets that are thousands of people. So you need a lot of people to turn a longer piece of video around. But now social media video can be 15 seconds, 5 seconds if you want it to be. So it's a lot quicker turnaround. And I felt like I could learn much quicker in this format that is social media. So a reel, I can make a reel in 20 minutes if I have to, right? It's like we all can. But so I think that if I have to choose between the two, I would rather do a long form piece of content because it feels more meaningful to me. But a social media piece of content, you can create it instantly. So the return is immediate, right? That's something that I like about that. And so I moved into that a little bit. But I do a bit of a mix of both here now. I don't know if that hurts me sometimes or it benefits me, but people come to me for a wide range of things. Like I've shot documentaries here. I've shot part of a Netflix series in Dubai. I've shot all kinds of corporate films. I've shot all kinds of social media videos. But so being in this a long time and having done a lot of stuff, it's great because you have a network and you can delegate to people that you work with. And that is great. So I don't know if that answered that question, but I hope I did.
Yeah, to a certain extent. I was wondering if maybe you can give us maybe even some names, someone, because I remember that you once, if I can say it, we can also like talk it out later, but with Joey Cobstrong, I remember
Yeah.
that you
That's right.
work with him as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So
in
George
London, in
Cobstrong.
UK.
That's right. And that's one of the people that I got in touch with through Instagram. And that's how powerful social media is. I messaged this guy on social media. He had an Instagram story up saying like, I need these people to help me create this and this. And I was like, I sent him a message. And then like 6 months later, he messaged me, hey, dude, no, he just gave me a call out of the blue, I think. Hey, are you still in the UK? Can you film? And I'm like, yeah, I'm here. And I hated the job that I was doing at the time. It had not so much to do with video, but only a little bit of video. And so I was like, yeah, immediately, yes. So I quit my job immediately and I went to work for this animal rights activist. And now looking back, that's a very strange decision to just make out of the blue. So I did that. But I very quickly realized that this guy in his niche, he's very known. And I really respect him, even though we don't have much contact now. And we live different lives, but he's a big deal, and I like what he's doing. But again, he's very much on a very extreme side of things with his opinions, and I think that works for him, and he needs to do that. Otherwise, his message is not fully understood. But for sure, we had a good time working together. Right. Yeah, I mean, this is an animal rights activist, and we traveled all over Europe to make parts of documentaries and social media contents like YouTube, Instagram, and we went in the street and asked people, their opinion on this topic. We broke into like certain places. We did undercover stuff. So it was very elaborate, and I was super excited about this because we traveled all over Europe. I love traveling. We did everything with video. We flew with multiple cameras. We flew with drones. So we traveled with all the stuff, met loads of people. It was great. Honestly, looking back now, I didn't care about anything. I got paid. This is amazing. Perfect. So it was great, but like it was definitely a very, very crazy job. Yeah. So it was not like full-time employment. There's no contract, but it's just like, yeah, this is what I can pay you. Great. And then it started. And if you go up and look up this guy, he does some crazy stuff. And yeah, he's very, very strong personality with a very strong background that I respect very much. And yeah, that's one example. Like another thing that I love about videography and this whole journey is that it just takes you everywhere. Like I don't know how many countries I've traveled to, but last year I spent 5 weeks in Japan. I've traveled to, I think, every continent but Antarctica. I don't know if that's impressive nowadays, but like I've traveled so much, and I'm super lucky to have done that. And so, projects here, I don't know, like I filmed the royal families, the Dubai royal families' horses, and we've taken them around different places in the city and the desert and their private properties, and we filmed them do all these incredible stunts, and it's amazing what they do. So if anything, like if I could say anything about my job, it's that you get to see things that sometimes nobody else gets to see, because they bring you in to film that stuff, and that's just incredible, you know. So yeah,
That's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Really,
course.
it's really appreciated. And what does traveling mean to you? Because you've already mentioned it a few times, but yeah, specifically, what comes to your mind when I say the word travel?
I mean, my childhood definitely comes to mind. I was very lucky to have parents that worked in aviation, so I got to travel quite a lot. So travel to me means getting to know a different version of yourself, because when you travel, you never do what you do when you sit in your house in Luxembourg or wherever you are. You're not in your routine. You get to know a different part of yourself, and you interacting with things locally, whether that be animals or experiences or landscapes. It's almost like a chance to reinvent yourself. And that's maybe very philosophical. For maybe you just want to travel and that's it, and that's obviously what people do. But for me, like, I've always felt quite inspired by travel, and the idea of traveling, if I have the time, I want to do it like immediately. And that's why whenever someone comes to me and says, like, whatever job it might be, if do you want to travel, I'm in, and I want to go. And so if I could travel right now, I'll probably just go somewhere else and spend some time, you know, in that place, and get to know a different version of the world, because we are all very stuck in our ways. And then we go to a different place and it's like, wow, oh my God, there's people here who live in this way. And when you travel to places that are not so common, to film stuff that's a bit weird, sometimes you see very crazy stuff, you know. And so that's an amazing part. And I think I've so far lived a very rich life, mainly because of my job. And I've gone very far away from what travel means to me now, but it just means like almost widening who it is that you are as a person. Yeah.
That's deep answer. Deep answer. While you were talking about it, I was also thinking about, just to get a little bit back to Luxembourg and also the education system. It's, you know how it is in our beautiful little country. Like, we're very blessed here. I mean, for me, here, I'm still currently living here, but there's also a lot of these things of, you know, just going the conventional way and being not allowing yourself to think outside the box. It's like, you know, you do your school, you do your education, you go to university, you have your job in the public sector, and you just buy a home, have a family, and retire. That's it. Like, very a bit scripted, like, type of life of going about it. And even if people want to do that, hey, it's all good. Like, not even judging, as long as it's not harming anybody else. But what led you to even consider going a different route than the conventional way at such a young age, and having the confidence to go to a foreign country, a big city, doing freelance, working for other companies in a foreign country, and then on another continent as well? Like, that it is a big deal. It is a big deal.
I think, you're right. Everything is a big deal if you make it that way. And I think sometimes it just happened and it's normal, but sometimes I think it is a big deal, because, I mean, it changed my life, really. And when you say what gave me the confidence to do that, I think it's almost like what didn't give me the confidence to do that, and that I didn't do well at school, and that they told me to get here you have to have a plan A and a plan B, and I was like, no, screw that. I don't want to have a plan B, because I want to try to make that plan A work. And I think it's more through being doubted all the time, being forced to do things in a certain way, that I felt very bad about myself in the school system as well. It's like, hey, I can't do anything. I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I can't do this freaking math equation. How am I going to do anything in life? That's the mindset, right? So I felt the opposite of confident. And that's where the confidence came from. It's like, okay, this is not working for me. I'm going to show myself, and maybe even show everybody else. And there's something, you know, you need to have that fuck you mentality to some degree, to say, I'm going to show you that I can do exactly this and do better than what you're saying that I'm doing now. And that's why I felt very judged in the school system, and said, like, I felt very almost discriminated. And that sounds very dramatic, but I felt like I could do nothing. And now you find yourself in a situation where you have the opportunity to make more money than the people that told you that you can't do anything. And that's nice. That's nice to prove people wrong, to say, like, look, I mean, there's more than one way. You can find your way and make it. The confidence sometimes comes from not being confident, being forced to do it.
Very interesting. Yeah. It really makes sense. The way you framed it, it actually came from a crushed self-esteem from this thing of education making, or school, or results at school making, basically pretty much determining your entire identity. It's like, exactly. Okay, you're bad at school, you're pretty much a loser. Pretty much that's how it can come across. And especially when you're younger, when you're a teenager, you have the peer pressure, you compare yourself to others as well, and then you have teachers trying to encourage you, but some teachers might even be putting you down. So that's tough. I mean, and that's where you see sometimes coming from this place, you can also do something good out of it, because probably a lot of other kids in your position, they might have gone another route. And I'm not saying that like in a positive way, but maybe more in a negative way. But you didn't let it stop you from going and creating your own path, maybe with some, maybe a little bit naive, maybe at this point, just going about it like who's gonna stop you? Like, I don't care. I'm just gonna go about it, and not making a big deal out of it. And sometimes that helps as well. Why putting these limitations on oneself? And
I agree.
It's like this harmony between, okay, how can I go realistic about it, but how can I also just strive for something that's bigger? And but what about your parents? Were they encouraging you? How were they positioned, your parents?
Yeah, that's also a good question. That's a big factor for a lot of people, I think, as well, or their family or friends in general. My parents were supportive. My parents were supportive for sure, because I think my dad also came from a position of where he was in a similar situation, that school stopped at high school and that's it. There's no fancy degree or fancy school, and he made it also to Dubai. So my family lived here for some time, so they encouraged me, because they understood that the traditional path is not always the right one. And my parents had a very also rich, I would call it a rich life, in terms of not wealth or money, but like experiences, and knowing that even if you're in this position now, it's not going to be your destination, so it goes up and down and you go many ways. So they didn't feel like it was stopping me so much. They didn't see the red lights. They were just, this is going to be all right, and they believed in me. And I think I'm very lucky about that. My family and my parents let me go quite a lot, even as a child. Like, go experience that. You don't have to be home by a certain time, and that's, I think, quite the privilege as well, for sure.
Yeah. No, for sure. I definitely believe that as well. Having this, when you get this belief and this autonomy being instilled from your parents as well, it can definitely be of benefit. I definitely believe
for
that.
Sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
What would you say? How do you differentiate yourself from other creators, or just in your industry in general? How would you describe your sauce, your touch? What is the Max Kieffer touch in your work?
I love that question, and I hate that question, because sometimes it's a journey, because sometimes you look at what you're doing and you're like, that does not have the sauce. And then sometimes you look at it and you're like, oh, that's great. That has the sauce. And I think when you go out there in the market and you compare yourself or try to get really, really good and compare yourself with some of the best, it's very difficult. And you almost feel like there's nothing unique about you. And there's no style, and there's no, because I don't know if there really is such a thing as your style. I heard someone say something like, everything is a remix. Everything that you're going to do has been done in some way by someone else. And some of the greatest artists say that as well. Say that, like, I just copied someone else's work until I tweaked it this way, and then it sort of became my own thing, and I was lucky at the right time at the right place, and then it clicked. So I don't know if I'm that different, but I think a lot of my life experience and a lot of the different things that I've done gives me a perspective on something that I consider valuable. Having life experience, I think, makes you approach something in a very different way. So, you know, and school can give you that to some degree, but living a bunch of life gives you, you know, that kind of perspective. And I think more than this specific skill that I have, more than this specific thing that I do, it's that. And maybe that's not a very good sales pitch, but that's that's what I think it is, you know. So it's how you tell a story and how you approach it, I think. And no one's the right person for anything. I think you have to find what's the right thing for you, you know. So if you want to get a tattoo and you see a tattoo artist, or you see hundreds of tattoo artists, are you going to choose the one that has the most detail in his tattoo, or the most like the most amazing tattoo artist? Or maybe you just go to the person that you can relate to the most, and that you like their story and their perspective and how they communicate about their work and who they are as a person. I think that sells a lot more than, hey, I've got the newest camera and I've got this workflow. And become a good person, and I think the rest will go from there. But maybe that's something I still need to figure out.
That's a very modest response to that. I really appreciate that. In general, throughout this entire podcast episode we've been recording, it's very well thought. Even though I didn't give you any questions in advance, but it's just free flowing, and it's beautiful to see that. And the way it's just a part of your maturation.
I ask myself all these questions all the time. I ask, you know, like this question you just asked, like I've asked myself a million times, like, why should someone choose me? Well, I don't know. Like, I can do it, so I guess you should choose me. So, right. You know what I mean? Like, the questions that you're asking me, like I've asked myself that a million times. So through doubt and maybe, you know, not feeling confident, that's where the answer comes from. Yeah.
And that requires a lot of self-awareness, and also being able to, or allowing yourself to be vulnerable, which is not always that easy. And I like the way you frame it with or how you said the word, you use the word remix, a comment a little bit from artists, because it's also the same thing. It's a lot of different domains. With quotes, for example, as well. You hear, you know, a lot of quotes that maybe were made a little bit more popular or famous by a certain person of influence, but it was probably not the first time that, I mean, even though it comes from that person, it doesn't mean that it was the very first time that something was said. And a lot of things in life are just, regurgitated or remixed. And I think it's very modest way of looking at it. And still at the same time, maybe I could reframe the question that I asked. And for example, when you create a piece of content, such as, let's say, a reel, is there anything particular that you would maybe pay more attention to, that you feel to you is going to make something of like you pay more attention to, it's going to create a higher quality, a higher standard?
Yes. And I think that's something that's very individual as a content creator or as a creative in general. To me, almost the most important thing is how this will make someone feel, right? So if I want to create a really emotional piece of content, or any kind of piece of content, whether it's a horse doing a stunt, or a plane flying over, or like me scuba diving through a shipwreck, whatever it might be. I want to create some kind of emotion that I feel in that moment, or when I rewatch it afterwards. I want to recreate that and deliver that feeling to you. So I think I've hopefully gotten very good at delivering a feeling. That's the most important thing to me, because and that can often be done through the story. So explaining to someone why you felt that way about that. Like when you make a documentary, you interview someone, you want to get, the feeling that they had about a certain situation out of them. How you tell the story of a movie would make you feel happy or sad or inspired, motivated. I think that's like the thing that I would pay most attention to, because sometimes I like that more than other times, but I'm very much a person that's based on emotion, and I can say that I'm not, and I'm this very disciplined person, but for sure it's about feelings for me and emotions, because if my emotions are all over the place, I need to find a way to regulate it, or nothing happens at all in my life. Like if there's a day where I didn't sleep well at all, I had a lot of chaos at work, nothing happens. So like, people like are very good at putting their feelings down and just saying like, no, I'm just going to work now. And it's like, it is what it is. But it's about recognizing what your feelings are. So that can be good sometimes, that can be bad sometimes, because people chase drugs and bad things. And sometimes I chase adrenaline. Like I like to do things that make me feel like, wow, I can't believe I did that. And flying over Manhattan or in New York City or with a helicopter and hanging out of it and photographing the city, or being on a jet ski or scuba diving and doing something dangerous, like doing something that's worth telling makes me excited. So that communicating feelings almost, I think, is super important. And not everyone can do that, I think.
Oh yeah, that's exactly where I wanted to go to as well. The deeper layers behind it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what is the most satisfying or fulfilling piece of content that you've created that really gave you what you were just talking about? That really gave you this sense of, oh, okay, I was able to really convey this, I don't know, story or these emotions that I wanted to, and it felt super satisfying, super fulfilling. Is there anything that comes to your mind?
Probably a couple. I've made some documentaries here that have made me feel that way, where I've told, or we as a team told, the story of some individuals. Pieces of content, yeah. I mean, I think this happens to me quite often because I enjoy the process of doing it, and then I look at it, I'm like, wow, that made me feel that way. But I've made a piece of content, and it's very much social media and not so emotional, but more like exciting. A piece of content about Petra in Jordan. It's this amazing site that looks quite like deserty and ancient. And I made a piece of content about that and being there, and it has a lot of fast cuts and music. And that's a piece of content where like whenever I go back, I'm excited about watching it, and I'm excited that I made that. Yeah, but there's many, or like recently, someone that I work with here in Dubai, we filmed part of a Netflix documentary that's out now, and we filmed that in the beginning of this year, and it's someone talking about their experience of becoming one of the best golfers in the world, and we filmed a 2-hour interview or so for Netflix with that person, and watching and hearing someone talk about that is also like a it makes your mind work. So I think those are some good examples for sure.
And something I definitely want to ask you about as well, which is very relevant because, as you said at the beginning, the way everything evolves online and digitally, that's just where it's at, and it's in demand. The demand is higher than ever for it. But what about also simultaneously you have artificial intelligence, AI, completely booming and growing exponentially? How do you feel about it, and how do you feel it crosses with art, photography, filmmaking as well, and maybe some ethical concerns as well? I just wanted to ask your position on it because it's a huge debate. It's very present right now, and you hear a lot of things.
Yeah, for sure. Let me turn on my AC and I will answer this question right away.
Okay.
Okay. Back to it. It's kind of warm in Dubai at the moment already. So
Yeah. How hot is it right now? What's the temperature in Celsius?
someone said to me, I don't look at the temperature because I just live it, but it's like I was 40 degrees yesterday or something like that.
Oh
But
my goodness.
crazy. Yeah, so I need to put the AC on. But AI again. This is not a scripted answer, but it's something that I've thought about a lot because AI has hit in certain industries already and it hasn't hit in other industries. And the industries that I'm in, if you want to call that the media industry or the multimedia industry, whatever you want to call that, if you look at, because I'm in this, how many things have come out from 2023 to now, which is to me 2.5 years now or something, is mind-blowing. And very simply put, if that's how much output they've created in the media sector, how much have they done in things that are more essential than media? Because media is, sure, it's essential, but it's not essential for life, right? We don't need it to live. We just need it to sell shit and advertise everything and communicate. But if that's what they do with video, I almost don't want to know what they do with essential things. I think AI, and I will get to some other things after this, but like AI is the thing that's slowly creeping up. And it's like with everything else in life, it's like the compound effect. Small, so it happens. And then we all kind of like, yeah, AI, we live our lives, we have to live and continue, it is what it is. At some point, this massive punch of AI is going to land. And then a lot of stuff is going to change that we are not ready for at all, I think. But that's a big statement about AI. When I first started seeing what AI can do, I started really freaking out and getting very afraid about it. And then you ask yourself a lot of existential questions and you're like, oh my God, I don't know where to go from here. But someone very famous said this, Casey Neistat, who is a very famous YouTuber. He said,
yeah.
Absolutely. He said that asking yourself existential questions will not help you. Get back to work. He said it in one video, and I was like, that's something that I always go back to when my mind goes very far into the AI world. But I think that I was very scared of AI, and now I'm just like, it is what it is. It's going to be incredible. Now I'm just going to live my life and learn as much as I can about it and balance it out so that I, at some point, can transition my whole business into AI. But at the same time, I want to continue my business the way it is now. And I'm at the moment making a piece of content about this as well. It makes me ask some interesting questions as a creative, whether I like the process of my job or the outcome. And I think a lot of people can ask themselves this question, because for me, the process is taking a camera, going somewhere, filming something, coming home or coming into the studio and editing it and delivering it to the client. I love the process, and like the outcome is something that I'm not always involved in. Sometimes I'm put on a shoot and I deliver the footage and that's it. But I love the process. Like the process is what makes me almost who I am, right? I fly in a helicopter, I go underwater, I do all these crazy things. That to me is the process. And the outcome is just the finished product. It's just what you watch on TV or when you go to the cinema or when you scroll on your phone. That's the outcome. And so AI completely removes the process. And that's the scary part for creatives or for humans, I think. And we need to be very careful with that. And I'm very scared that there's nowhere near enough regulation in the world to make this anywhere near like enough for humans to still thrive and do what it is that we want to do. So nobody knows where this whole thing is going to go. But for sure, it's something that I'm utilizing now, and it's only going to get better. And it can, in some way, for filmmaking, it levels the playing ground, almost like a phone, right? With a phone, yeah, you can create really decent quality video, and now everybody has a phone now. You no longer need the big cinema camera to create something that looks nice or tell a story. But AI, it's like you can create anything you ever dreamed of. And to me, that's like amazing, because Now I don't need a helicopter or a Russian arm or a crazy camera crew of 75 people. I can do everything right here in front of me on my computer. Any kind of shot, like sometimes the limitation is the weather, or it's the camera equipment, or a certain movement. Now you can control everything, and everything is possible. And that's amazing to some degree, right? But that's also very scary, because how long will AI need human creativity until it can do its own thing? And when we get to that point, it's again very existential thinking. We might not live the same way we do now, you know. So AI is very crazy for sure, and there's no stopping it now. And at some point, it's gonna hit so hard that there's no preparation that you could have, because human life will never be the same, because it can do anything we ever wanted to. Because now there's no question I cannot ask ChatGPT and get an answer out of it. Like it's scary as hell. Like it's a human in your phone that's basically can talk back to you. So it worries me to see who the people are that make this and what their thoughts are. And I researched a lot about this. Like, so I don't know everything for sure, but like I researched a lot about like people like Sam Altman, the founder of OpenAI, and what their missions are and what their thought processes are. They don't think about how to safeguard humanity. And that's something that's very dangerous, I think. And that's logical. Like if you don't, you know, that's something that Elon Musk said as well. What will you, like, if we need to build a road, are we going to care that there's small ants living where the road needs to go? No, we're just going to remove the ants and that's it. They're dead. That's it. AI would do something similar to that to humans if it's necessary. So that's something that he said. That's not something I'm saying, but it's like a thought that I get when I think about all these things. It's crazy. It's madness. But I think it can also have very positive outcomes if we use it for the right things and not use it to maximize profit and get rid of all employees and get rid of all human purposes at the moment. It can be very positive in terms of preventing disease. I think we might need it to survive, because something will come our way as a human species that we cannot predict now, that AI can help us solve. So let's see.
Man, you honestly, you could not have said it any better, just regarding as far as how I see it myself. It was very, very pertinent. And again, it was a very nuanced way of talking about it. But yeah, the exponential growth of it just within 2.5 years, 3 years, it's absolutely mind-blowing. I cannot believe it. I cannot even imagine where we are heading to by 2030. And because it's going to be there. And there are going to be a lot of questions around regulations, around ethical concerns, and at the same time, how can it be used as a tool to facilitate our lives and even enhance our lives? And like you were just saying, talking about prevention in medicine and in other realms that are essentially important to humans. But we know as well that humans can also be greedy, not necessarily have the best intention. They can use a tool for constructive reasons, but also for destructive matters. So it's really a fine line where we're walking on right now, and you just never know how it can backfire at any moment. So it's definitely a thrilling movie right now that we're in. That's for sure.
It really is. And you know, sometimes it takes me back to this experience that I had. And there's a museum in Dubai called the Museum of the Future. And it's a very impressive building. And I remember walking into that museum, and it takes you up like a rocket ship and whatever. And you get out, and then you see this spacecraft there. And it's like this round thing that's like massive. Like it's just a model that stands in the middle of the room. People get around it. And it's basically a spacecraft that's designed for it to be shot into space outside of the Earth's atmosphere. And then up to 100,000 humans can live on that spacecraft. Yeah. And I remember seeing this, and they said they predicted that this will be possible by 2075. And that's this was in 2020, this was in 2024. So that was like 50 years to go, you know? And I'm like, I asked my dad, like, how I will live. We will live when this will happen. We'll be very old, but like, so I'm like, how will this be possible? And then he said something to me that I will not forget. It's like human growth is not linear, but it's exponential. And especially with something like AI, it will only get more rapid. And so the faster we go, the faster we go. Like there's no going back from here. We are evolving, right? Human species has evolved so much from World War II to now. It's crazy. So from here to what's to come, it's even crazier. But yeah, that's my take on AI. It's
thank you for that honest feedback and answer. But I definitely feel completely aligned with it. So yeah, Max, before we wrap it up, we just have a few little more things, such as what I told you also before the podcast. Just asking you where people can connect with you and find out more about you and what you're doing, about your work.
Of course.
And I will also share it in the description, of course, but you can also already mention it now.
I mean, the easiest way is my Instagram. It's just Max Kieffer 1 on Instagram. And like, obviously for any Luxembourgish people as well, that's something that I'm very big on. Like, if you want to message me and ask me any questions about moving out of Luxembourg or doing something outside of Luxembourg or whatever you want to ask me, you can message me there. And I live in Dubai now. And, I come back to Luxembourg every so often, but you can reach out to me there. And yeah. Actually, I'd love to talk about Dubai a bit more, but you tell me, are we limiting the time now?
Yeah, I mean, I even had a few questions ready for it as well. Maybe we can take a few minutes for that as well, especially during this time and what's currently going on from a geopolitical standpoint. Maybe I mean, I don't want to make this whole thing now political, but you are living there. You've lived there for years. You know more about it. Your parents have been have had a stay for a while here as well. So yeah, maybe you could share how is it currently looking like? What is it currently looking like? How you feeling about it? And the safety concerns and things of that nature. Go ahead.
I mean, it was definitely a crazy situation. Like, it's not normal to see what people were seeing here as well. But it's actually maybe a bit funny that I left a day before it started, so the timing was very good. Like, I went on a holiday, on a ski trip, and then I got all the messages from my friends and from my girlfriend and relatives, and like, okay, what's going on? So like, all this stuff started happening, and you see all these videos, and some videos were fake apparently, and I don't want to speak too much about the facts of everything, but like, it was definitely very crazy to see. And it's strange to live in it, but again, that's also from a very privileged perspective, because this was nothing compared to what's a war zone like Gaza or in Ukraine or parts of Africa like Sudan could be like now. But it was definitely out there among experiences that I've never had before. When you see fighter jets in the sky and you see drones flying and you hear explosions of interceptions and like all this crazy stuff, but yeah, I definitely think that it was very interesting to see how the West responded to it. And I don't mean the US or how Europe responded to it militarily, but how the news outlets responded to it, how people responded to it. Because it seemed like people were very quick to take a jab at Dubai. And I took offense to that to some degree, because I live here and Dubai has given me a lot. And the past 6 years that I've lived here, or almost 7 years now, I don't regret a single day that I've lived here. And it makes me feel like, as a resident and being here for almost a decade now, it makes me feel like I want to represent Dubai and say, like, Dubai did a very good job at protecting the people that were here. And I had loved ones here while I was not here. And Dubai, I think, is an incredible place that I'm very grateful to live in, and will also continue to live in, for sure, for the next, I don't know, however long it's going to be. But it's strange how quickly people, when someone has ambition as a person or as a city or in a country, how quickly people start talking down at you when things go wrong. But when it was 7 days in to this whole thing, I flew away for a week or so, and my flight was not rescheduled. So I managed to get on my flight, and I flew back when everybody was kind of leaving, because my life's here. Like, I do everything here. I love the routine that I'm in here. I love the things that I can do here. I love the person that I can be in the city, like scuba diving, cycling, gym, the city, the activities that you can do that in Dubai. It's something I'm not willing to give up, So I think it was definitely not as crazy as it was made up to be. And all these big headlines are there to deter people from maybe choosing Dubai as a place. But you know, it's not going to make me go away from it. But yeah, it was a strange situation for sure, and it's not to undermine anybody's feelings about it, but yeah, it's getting better now. The city is going to take a hit, but it's going to come better. It's going to come back better than it was before, I think, because this place does things sort of in a different way, and it's almost not explainable. And I don't want to convince people of that, but that's the truth for me. You know, things happen differently here.
Right.
Yeah.
What does it look like on a day-to-day basis from an update standpoint and information standpoint?
Yeah, that's a big one, because you know, my parents that don't live here anymore, they ask me like, how is it there, or how was it? Like, this is much more normal now than it was before, but like, I don't know more than you, because you read the news, I read the news, you know, and like maybe there's some information out there, but it you know, there was times where you got alerts on your phone, like, don't go outside, stay away from the windows, and the government tried to keep you safe and warn you of incoming threats, and that's like a loud alarm, like a storm alarm that you can get on your phone. And then right after that, you would hear like 4, 5, 6 explosions, and they make your windows shake. Of course, it's a strange thing. Like, it's not normal at all. It's like it's the region that we live in to some degree. You know, it's on a day-to-day basis that can be very strange. And then you try to sit here and you work, and then you get that alert on your phone. It's like it snaps you out of any kind of focus immediately. And then you message people, hey, how you doing? Is everything okay where you are? Because I kind of maybe live just outside the downtown area, so maybe this area is not so much of a target, but then you message people that work there, and it's like, yeah, it's strange. It's a strange thing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's again, like you said, we are very privileged in the West, that fortunately for most of us, we will not get to experience this type, hopefully, of course, these types of geopolitical things that can escalate real quick. And especially for such a place like the UAE, like Dubai. And I gotta say, I was there for the first time just about 3 years ago. We also got to see you as well. We went on a crazy hike. That, I mean, I still talk about it up to this day sometimes, because that felt so dangerous, bro. I mean, maybe not for you, but for me, oh, you got me sweating. That was crazy.
Yeah.
But I honestly enjoyed my stay in Dubai. I also went to Abu Dhabi as well. And because you have a lot of noise, a lot of people talk down on Dubai. Even, I mean, in Luxembourg, you have both. You have enjoy going there, but you also have the other extremes where people completely talk down and they call it superficial and all names and all of these things. But I can just say from my own experience, being there, that it was amazing. It was great as far as just how safe I felt, the people I connected with, just the type of energy that was there, and I got to talk to people from all backgrounds and levels, from people working on construction sites to security people to people being on having different backgrounds. And it was so welcoming as well, that just it's this most simple things, such as people asking you how you're doing. Like, I don't care if it's genuine or not, if it's fake or not. I just appreciate the fact, someone looks at me, and I get easily into conversations, even with Uber drivers. Like, I had some really fun conversations with like local Uber drivers as well, and talking about life. And I had one tour guide. I connected with him so well and on a deep level that we exchanged contacts, asking sometimes about his family and him about mine. And he even gifted me a beautiful version of the Quran just before I left. He dropped it at the hotel I was at, because we couldn't make it like in time and see each other in time. And even the receptionist of the hotel, he honored it, and he was super welcoming about it and asking
Yeah.
me about you know, even like getting into it, about my curiosity for it and about my faith. And so just I just want to say personally that I had a great experience, even though
Yeah.
for a lot of places that there's, to me, there's no place that is perfect, whether it is
No.
from a nature standpoint, from ethical standpoint, whatever it is, however you want to talk about it. I'm not blind to some things that might be perceived as negative about it as well.
Clear.
Like I
Yeah.
can see things in a nuanced way, but I
Yeah,
can
for sure.
also share my own experience and how I feel about the place. And it was definitely one of the best places I've been to. I'm not gonna lie about it. That's
Yeah.
I don't see it as a place where I could live for mid to long term, but definitely going there from time to time, and then linking up with people like you who have this type of yeah, just super open and having growth mindset. Of course, you also have this superficial side of it. Yeah, just like in many other places, even Luxembourg as well. You have that as well here for sure. But yeah,
Yeah.
what would you say about this? About people talking down on a place such
Hmm.
as yeah, UAE or Dubai?
Well, I think that definitely a place like Dubai markets itself as being very luxurious. You can live whatever kind of life you want here, like bring your money and there's no limits. That kind of stuff exists for sure. But uh, of course, that's not the full picture, you know. And to a tourist that says immediately after a trip, a week after, says that, oh, it's super superficial. The question that I would immediately ask is, like, where did you go and what did you do? You know, because if I go to the beach club, I'm not going to see the not superficial side of Dubai. You know, if I go to Burj Al Arab or Burj Khalifa, that's all about representing Dubai. Like, hey, look, we're proud that we're Dubai. We built this shit. Like, we built all this shit. You know, like they're proud of it. They want to show that, like, hey, look, we can do some amazing stuff, because they are also to some degree people who very not so long time ago didn't do very amazing stuff, and they were just living in the desert and they had nothing. And then all of a sudden, like, they got some oil, and then they were like, okay, this is our chance to do something great. And then they started using that to trade and started building this massive ecosystem here. And so I would say that if you think that a place is superficial, or a place that like Dubai is only superficial, because I think to some parts it can be superficial, then I would probably challenge your perspective
Mhm.
and challenge you to think, like, what do you pay attention to? Are you looking for that superficiality? Is that maybe that something that you wanted as well? When you came here, you wanted to get that cool picture in this specific place that everybody knows to be the place to be in Dubai. I don't know. You know, maybe that is the case. You know, and like that's maybe a provocative thing to say, but I think that's for sure, because I can go to Luxembourg and I can show you some very superficial places and people there as well, and they exist everywhere. You know, because humans are humans no matter where you go. Um, so yeah, I would say that. And like, I think no place is perfect, and there's downsides and upsides, but Dubai has definitely done some incredible stuff. And if you are a person that wants to reinvent themselves, it presents the ultimate opportunity, because not very long time ago, like I said before, they did that with themselves. They're just desert people that lived literally in the desert with nothing but some camels and some, I don't know, I don't want to speak for their history, but like very little stuff. And then they built this, you know? And so it's super impressive to me. And that represents to me the chance to come here and do something amazing for myself.
Oh yeah, it is super impressive. Just within a few decades, being able to pull
Yeah.
that off, um, it's yeah, no, it's crazy for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for sharing your position on that as well. That we were able to cover
Of
that
course.
as well. And thank you that it came
Yeah.
from you, because I wasn't sure if it's something that we could cover as well. But hey, it gives, like a bigger picture. Also, just
Absolutely.
who you are and what you're about, and I love it. Just your transparency.
Yeah.
So
Well, thank you.
yeah, before we wrap it up, yeah, of course, of course. Before we wrap it up, we have this game now coming up that I told you about, and it's just gonna take
Yeah.
a couple of minutes. It's all
Okay.
it's gonna be. It's gonna be about. I'll just give you a word or
Okay.
a few words or a phrase, and you say the first thing that comes to your mind. Just your
Okay.
intuition. The first word or the
That's
first phrase that comes to your mind, And there's just one rule, and it is that you cannot repeat yourself with your answers.
Okay.
So, for example,
So
if I
this is
say
a dangerous
gas
one.
and you say water,
Water.
then you cannot
Yeah.
say water twice. That's it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
all it is. And I'm just going to give you like
All right.
around 10 words.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
that's it.
Sounds good.
You tell me when you're ready.
Dangerous game. No, I'm ready.
Let's do it. All right. Photography.
Passion.
Filmmaking.
Love.
Art.
Inspiration.
AI.
Scary.
Dubai.
Home.
Luxembourg.
I can't repeat myself.
Yeah.
I would say roots.
Travel.
Job.
Freedom.
Necessity.
And purpose.
Question.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I like that. I like that. All right, I just got two little questions before we close it off. And one is, what would you recommend for someone who has this curiosity or starts to develop their passion for photography, for filmmaking, how they would get started? How would they go about it, whether it's to education or just the gear to start with? What comes to your mind? What would you recommend?
I think that it's a weird place to be in right now, because if you tell someone to go chase camera work, like what we do with cameras right now, that might not exist at some point. I don't know, but it exists now. And we still live in an area where you can probably benefit from understanding how this old system works and take that experience into the new system, which is AI. You understand what creates a good looking shot and a bad looking shot. I would say that you should experiment as much as possible with new tools, because I also always try to get the newest camera, the newest lens, get the new tools if you can. Now they're on your computer. So experiment and learn as much as you can, and maybe don't ignore the new tools. Like if you're in school now as a filmmaker, I imagine it's very scary as well. Like, I don't know if this job is going to exist later on. So definitely don't ignore the new formats. And I would say, I don't know if you need to go to school. Now, if you're in a position that you don't have to go to school, then maybe don't, and use that time to go all into filmmaking and photography. If you have to bridge the gap anyways and you're still in school and you're super young, go to school, and on the side do as much as you can. Just try to take on way more than you can handle. Basically, I would say that, like, and then it will figure itself out from there, because it's going to come your way anyways. At some point, nobody's going to use cameras anymore. Great, then I'm just going to do it with AI. You know, that's the mindset. You have to be adaptable, and that's something that comes with this job anyways. Like, you're going to be thrown into all kinds of situations that are not your office desk, your traditional job. So get ready to be flexible.
It's a good message, being adaptable. That's good. That's good. One last question, and that is right back to you, related to you. What is a message that you'd give to a younger version of yourself? Let's say 19, 20, 21, just as, motivating, inspiring message.
Yeah, that's a difficult one as well. But I think something that I suffered from a lot more than I do now when I was 20 years old is that the doubt and the failures and the things not working out the way you want them to, that kind of pressure and those kind of emotions can weigh you down a lot as a person, like financial stress or uncertainty, doubt. It's a perspective that I don't have now the same way, because back then those feelings were really crushing me in some way. I was like feeling like, oh my God, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I need to get better. I need to get better. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough this or that, So I would say that these things will come, and don't ruin the moment that you're in right now because of those emotions. It's important to have those thoughts, think about the facts. Of course, they're there, but don't let them ruin your moment, your this part of your life. Like if I think back at my time in the UK, a lot of it was spent on worrying of like, how is this going to work out, instead of just trying to live, you know what I mean? And now I'm much more flexible. Like I cannot work for a year and it's okay. Like, but it crushes you when you have these struggles, and that's a lot of people have these now. And I think I would say that it's going to work out, because you are going to make it work out. I saw this illustration once of this Rubik's Cube figure, and like the older version of the Rubik's Cube is solved, and the younger version of the Rubik's Cube is all mixed up, and you have no idea how to solve it. And then like you look back and you're like, why was I even worried? That's the message, like that's exactly what I saw that. I was like, maybe it is going to work out, so that will be it. Like it's going to figure itself out, because you're going to become a person capable enough to solve the problems you have right now. Yeah.
Man, you dropped a lot of bangers today. That's
I'm glad.
That's a lot of good clips. I'm not gonna lie. You dropped some bangers. I love it.
Good.
No, really, really. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for your time. I'm really looking forward to see you again. It's really been too long.
Yeah,
and is there anything else? Is there anything else you'd like to share? Is there anything else?
Like a small relevant tip maybe would be, if you have an old iPhone. I got a new iPhone, and I have an old iPhone that was just in my cupboard. Something that a good friend told me, and he will love this. His name is Bob, and you know him too. He has two phones, not one phone for work and one phone for his personal, but he has one social media phone. And this is something that I started doing recently as well, because I had this terrible, I want to say addiction, because it is addiction. It really is, of scrolling all the time and losing your mind in this network of unlimited content. I have something called Opal, but that's a software barrier. Creating a physical barrier rather than just a software barrier is amazing, because right now that phone is not here. That phone is downstairs in my car, and I leave it in my car most of the time, unless it's like the weekend and I have a little bit more time freedom. I leave that phone away from me, because now to go on social media, I have to go on my computer, which is way less addictive than scrolling on your phone. And I'm more aware of it because the work is there as well. But the phone that I use for social media, YouTube and Instagram, and like 1 or 2 games, is away physically in my car right now. And I'm not going to go and get it now, because I'm going to go to bed after this. You know what I mean? So that's it. Try it if you can. If you have an old phone, use it for that. If the phone is shitty as well, it's even better, because then you hate to use it and you just won't use it.
Right. And then you even put it in like black and white, the colors. Maybe it helps even
that
more.
I've not tried. I need to try that.
Yeah. No, that's big time. And it's definitely, I mean, these platforms are designed so well by some of the best marketers and minds in the world, that they just know how to make these things addictive. And
exactly. And my job is part of that.
It's very hard to willpower. Yeah, and it's even for you in the industry itself.
Exactly.
It's so addicting.
Strange.
For sure.
It's really strange.
Yeah, it is. And
the less
willpower
you use
is not enough for it.
And you have some very good experience in that, because you've been off social media for a long time, right? So when the longer you stay off it, when you go back on it, like, what's this?
Yeah. I just came back on Instagram after 4 years. And I could not believe all the upgrades and the AI integrated things, and just the way the algorithm works. And you know what I did? it's only been a few weeks since I've been back, and I'm just doing it low key, just to share my content, because for me, for this year, my mantra is production over consumption, and that's what I want to embody. And I had the app on my phone, but I started to see that, okay, sometimes when I had some buffers throughout the day, for whatever reason, even I didn't do it for that long, scrolling and actually seeing content that I like, but I was like, oh, that's exactly what I wanted to stay away from, because next thing you know, you on it for 2 minutes and 5 minutes, and I started getting some flashbacks from back then, because now it's even more advanced than it was before. Sure. So what I did is I deleted the app off my phone. So for the most part, I'm just going to use it on my laptop. Maybe re-download. I have to go over this barrier of re-downloading my phone and putting in my password to then create the content. And maybe if I see something from someone that's around me, maybe I'm going to give them a quick like, message, comment, whatever it is, but then turn it off, delete it again. That's going to be my strategy. Maybe I'm going to do this strategy thing with a second phone as well. Like, I have an old Samsung that barely works. Maybe I could use it for that. So
honestly, it's the only thing that worked for me. It is.
Yep. That's big time. That's big time.
Yeah.
Well, Max, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, bro. It's a pleasure to have you on, and it was definitely a banger. Really, and I'm really looking forward to share this one.
You have a lot to edit.
Oh yeah, for sure. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you and peace out.